So far, they've had to abseil, ride a horse, navigate without a compass, build a raft, and even a shelter. It's been intense. We've been there through the highs, we've been there through the lows, and we have even been there for the super, super boring parts.
I chipped a few nails. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, totally ruined.
We truly have seen it all.
And now, it's crunch time.
Jacqui, Guy, this is the final round. On your marks, get set, go!
Our fearless contestants must put together the pieces of a puzzle to form a magic word before they move on to the quad bike course and then the finish line. So, I'm going to get out there and see how they're going.
You guys are doing great. It doesn't look like a word yet, but keep on going. Wow, Guy's going really fast, but he keeps on stalling. Ooh, Jacqui's feeling the pressure. Come on, Jacqui. Ooh, Jacqui's almost done. Guy kind of looks like he's having a bit of trouble. Ooh, it looks like it's going to be a photo finish. And Jacqui is off.
I've hit a wall here. I can't finish this off.
Jacqui's creative brain versus Guy's science brain. A lot of people say we're either left-brained or right-brained. Like if you're a scientist or a mathematician, you're more likely to use the left side of your brain. And if you're an artist or a writer, the other side. Well, recent studies have revealed that this theory simply isn't true, even though our bodily functions like kicking a ball or simply remembering something we learned in class the year before are controlled by either one side of our brain or the other. There is no particular side that we favour. In other words, we don't each have a favourite side of the brain we like to use. So for now, understanding why we might be creative or logical, or even both, and why our friend might be stronger at math than you, while you're a pretty cool artist. And this still remains one of life's great mysteries.
So I'm setting up for this party and I'm not allowed to have anything to eat until anyone else arrives. But I really want a piece of this chocolate. I know, I think I have a little magic trick I can do to help me out. So first, I'll start with a quick cut through here. Whoop. And then another little cut here. And then one more last cut right here. And so if we put the pieces back together again, still a whole bar. Now, when I move them around, just like this, I can use maths to hide that I've snuck a piece for myself. Now that's a pretty cool trick, but how did I do it? So this time we're going to put away the chocolate and I'll show you again, but with triangles. So now I'm going to make a shape that looks like a triangle and I'm going to make a square magically appear inside. So I've color-coded these different segments so you can see exactly what's moving where. So there are 3 sides and there are 3 corners as well. But now when I rearrange it, you can see a whole new square has magically appeared. So what if I told you that this triangle is actually an optical illusion? It's an imposter. What if I told you that neither of these shapes is a triangle? They're actually completely different shapes. This part here is where the illusion lies. It's not actually a straight line, it's bent. So let's work out the maths to see if they really are the same. When I did my calculations, I discovered that they have different areas, which proves that they're different shapes. The hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle, and here it's actually slightly bent. Now the optical illusion is that our eyes can't see it, making us think that it's perfectly straight. Let me show you. So if you place the 2 triangles on top of each other, you can see a gap. So this gap here is what makes up our missing square. One of the shapes that looks like a triangle is actually bent in, and the other is bent out. Let's go back to the chocolate. So that's how I use maths to sneak a piece of chocolate for myself. I actually made the block of chocolate smaller by cutting carefully at certain angles, which gives the illusion that the number of squares of chocolate left is the same as it was before. But this one is much more delicious. Now keep that to yourselves. A math magician never reveals their secrets.
Solving a jigsaw puzzle is fun, right? And depending on the number of pieces in the puzzle, it's something even a toddler can do. So you might be surprised to learn how hard the brain actually works when we piece together a puzzle. But the best part is, it's actually really good for your brain. The main part of the brain is made up of two sides, the right and left hemisphere. And what is really interesting is when we start mucking around with a puzzle, both sides of the brain are actually connecting with each other. This is because we're using our logical left side to work with the separate parts to try and solve the problem, while our creative right side is focusing on the bigger picture. And the good news is that making these connections between the two sides of our brain strengthens our ability to learn, understand, and remember. Jigsaw puzzles, for example, make the brain focus on shapes and colours. In this way, we exercise and strengthen our short-term memory skills. Because as we work on the puzzle, we memorise what each available piece actually looks like and which one should go where to complete the picture. So, what are some handy tips for solving jigsaw puzzles? Well, you should start by separating the edge pieces from the middle pieces. Next step is to assemble the edge pieces. You should then sort the remaining pieces into piles according to colour, shape and patterns. This will help you fit those pieces together. And of course, don't forget to use the picture on the box as a guide. Welcome back to the Gauntlet, where Jacqui is streets ahead of Guy and onto the quad bike challenge. The rules of the quad bike challenge are to weave between the safety cones, come to a complete halt without stalling between the end four cones, do a complete 180-degree turn, come to another halt, then drive back to the safety cones, and each contestant must complete 3 laps of the course. Come on, Guy, you're so close!
Yes. I can beat you. Must missed out.
Jacqui, you are officially the champion! Awesome job, guys. It was such a close race, except for the end there, Guy, because Jacqui just totally wiped the floor with you. But it just goes to show it's a perfect example of how two people solve problems in different ways. I don't know about you two, but I'm exhausted watching you jump off cliffs, ride quad bikes and just have a really hard time trying to get to the finish line. I'm tired. Good job, Jacqui. Pretty good job, Guy. Until next time, you've been watching the Get Clever Explore It Challenge.
Next time.
Wait, where's my prize? Nathan!
Help me, Kevin!
Nathan! Nathan!
Run.
Oh no, did not win. the challenge. I think I just didn't get to my quad bike quick enough, and that was the fault of my puzzle skills. I think Jacqui was using colour to figure out where the pieces were meant to go, and I was trying to look for the word that the puzzle seemed to be spelling, but it looks like Jacqui's artistic mind won her this.
So I've just finished part 4 of the challenge and I'm so excited because I won, guys. But talking through that jigsaw puzzle, it was really cool. I kind of relied on the colours and how the patterns matched up to solve the puzzle before Guy. Then I got to quad bike and I won, and it was awesome.
Sorry to bat. Bat in the cave.
When we're making the special Get Clever Explorer series, The Gauntlet.
Sorry.
Sometimes things get a bit silly.
Help me, Kevin. Help me. Help me, Kevin.
We don't always get it right the first time.
Sometimes I think my brain's the size of a peanut, just like the dinosaurs. Then I remember nothing.
All right, everyone's pumped.
It's really exciting.
Say it again.
So exciting.
Cerebrum.
Can't run. So much running. Fine, I'll pray out.
Go away, Fly. Okay.
Help me, Kevin.
Help me,
Help me.
Help me, Kevin.
Kevin, we need help.
It's all over. Both flags are up. Yay! All right, we'll do it again. Now, are they decorative or sinking? The Gauntlet. And who will be crowned? Clowned. And who will be crowned? I have to stop. Turn. And who will be crowned the winner? And who will be crowned the winner of the Explorer series of The Gauntlet? Crown. The Gauntlet. And who will be crowned? And who will be crowned the... And who will be crowned the winner of the Explorer series of... And who will be crowned? And who will be crowned the... And who will be crowned the winner of the Explorer series of... The Gauntlet.
It takes a lot of creativity and imagination to invent your own board game. But did you know that maths and science are really what determines how much fun it will be to play? To find out more, I'm going head-to-head with a real-life game designing wizard. Well, actually, he's not a real wizard, but he creates weird and wonderful worlds with all sorts of characters in them, including wizards, for his board games that he designs. I can't even imagine where you would start in designing a game like this. What's your process?
It's actually pretty easy. I normally work from a journal like this. I just put down notes. So the first thing you always want to do is, with your crazy ideas, the ones that kind of inspire you to make the game in the first place. Maybe it's a game about horses or a game about wizard horses, or you want to go one step further and you want to make it a game about wizard horses who are playing bridge against each other.
So that's your big picture concept, and it's kind of the storytelling bit where you develop all the characters.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you want players, when they're actually playing the game, to be able to tell a story about what they're doing, and that adds a lot to the fun. Once you're actually done with that, then you work out what sort of experience you want your players to have. Do you want your players to be yelling across the table at each other, or do you want them to be sitting there going, oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do next?
So you must have to work out how all these things interact and how the game actually plays out.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of that gets done in your notebook. But for the balancing of the game, that's when you actually have to go to some sort of spreadsheet program, input all the values, and then play around with it a little bit.
So by balancing, you mean the maths and science, don't you?
Definitely.
Because there are lots of different kind of games, aren't there?
There are. So this is a dice game. You have a whole bunch of pretty dice, and you're rolling them on your turn. This is of a category called Press Your Luck. That means that there's usually a way to push your luck in the game. In this one, that means you can take another turn if you want to. It's up to you. If you wanted to be sensible, you could end it now, or you could go again and roll more dice. The idea of it is that you roll lots of dice. You're trying to push your luck a little bit, but if you go too far, then everything goes bad for you.
And this is where the science part comes in. In mathematics, there are principles of probability that make some things more likely to happen than others. If you change the rules of a game, you change the probabilities of what could play out. For example, playing with normal die, out of 6 possible outcomes, it's just as likely that you'll roll a 2 as it is you'll roll a 6, because any of these sides could end up on top. But with 2 dice, there are 36 possible outcomes, because 6 sides of one die multiplied by 6 sides of the other give 36 different combinations. So thinking about chance and probability, in a game using 2 dice, it will probably take you a lot longer to roll a 2 than it will to roll a 6. But with 1 die, the odds are even. And that means a game designer can determine how easy or how hard it is to play by calculating probabilities and then making up the rules, like how many dice you have to use. A lot of different combinations will give you a score of 6, but there is still only one combination that will give you a score of 2.
The good thing about being a game designer is that you can do most of your work on a laptop, in a coffee shop, or in the park.
Sounds like a great life.
So, as you can see here, there's different spreadsheets that you can put together. You put all of the numbers down on the computer. You might go into a different program to create some cards, print them all off, cut them up, put them down on the table, and then you have other people come along and play test it. So once you have that all printed off, you spend probably a good hour or 2 cutting out cards, and you put it all together into a nice prototype.
Now, a prototype game is kind of the first version of Shannon's game. So have you actually tested this game out with people already?
I have quite a few times. The first tests, people weren't too pleased with it. It was very confusing.
Tell me about the user testing. Do people play games differently?
A lot of the people who play test games for designers are usually friends who've been roped into doing it, probably with the promise of some food or something like that after they're done. A lot of people, when they're asked to play test a game, will look for ways to improve it.
Is there psychology involved when you're, watching people play your game?
Where you have to design a game around an experience. A lot of the time when you're playtesting with people, you're watching their faces to see, are they getting this? What bits are they getting excited about? Where are they getting bored? And then you try and rework your game to get as much people excited about it and as few people bored.
What do people say when they find out what you do for a living?
They're actually usually pretty excited because they all remember the games that they used to play back when they were 6, 7, 8 years old and playing with their parents, and they want to know more about all the new ones that have come out.
So even though it's just a bit of fun, there really is a lot of probability that goes into designing the rules of a game. Maybe I could create one myself if I wasn't so busy playing them.
You want another game?
Of course, let's go.